Hello, welcome to a lesson on angle pairs. The main types of angle pairs are complementary angle pairs, and those are angles that add up to 90 degrees. For example, if you had an adjacent set of angles that were part of a 90-degree angle, here's a 90-degree angle. Let's say I were to not necessarily bisect, but to put a ray in there. If you had this angle that, let's say it measured 35 degrees, and then since the angle is right, it has to add up to 90, this other angle would be necessary to have a sum of 90 degrees, in this case, 55 degrees. It's true because 35 degrees plus 55 degrees is equal to 90 degrees. And so we would say that those two angles, the 35 and the 55, are complementary. The next major category is supplementary. Supplementary adds up to 180 degrees. And we're going to look at a couple examples of those as well. Here's an example of supplementary. In the figure at the right, you can see it's a quadrilateral, a four-sided figure. It might be a parallelogram. I don't know. I don't have enough information. But two of the angles, A and D, are marked 60 and 120. Since they add up to 180 degrees, the angle sum would be 180. We considered them to be supplementary. Notice that to be complementary or supplementary, the angles don't have to be adjacent. They don't have to touch. In this case, they don't touch each other, but they're still considered to be supplementary, just adding up to 180. Now, if they're also adjacent or touching each other, that's another category, and I have an example here below. Here you can see I have a straight line segment AC, so this angle all the way from angle ABC is a 180 degree turn. This is called a straight angle. And straight angle, if it's cut, as it is in this case, it's not necessarily bisected, but if it's cut by the ray BD here, then it's also true that these two angles, in this case, angle ABD and angle DBC, are supplementary because they're adjacent and straight. They have to add up to 180. So you could set up an algebraic equation like 7q subtract 46. If you were to add that to the other angle, 3q plus 6, that would be equivalent to 180. This is all degrees. And then using some linear algebra skills, you could figure out the value of q and hence the value of the angle. Let's take a look at that. 7q plus 3q would be 10q, and negative 46 plus 6 minus 40 is equal to 180. Then we're going to add 40 to both sides of this equation. Will give us 220. By the way, I recommend pausing the video, trying it yourself, maybe checking to see later. Dividing by 10, you can get Q is equivalent to 22. Once you know that, you can use that information to figure out the measure of each of the two angles. So looking at those two, the measure of angle ABD, the larger of the two, it looks to be visually the larger of the two, can be found just by plugging in the Q value of 22. So we have the expression 7Q minus 46. I'll put in 22. Feeling like I'm needing a calculator right now. 7 times 22, take away 46. I'm going to pull up my calculator. Hopefully you can see this on the video. So I do 7 times 22, get the answer to that, and then subtract 46. Oh, hit the wrong button there. Let's try that again. Subtract 46. That is not how you do it. So let me try that again. 7 times 22 minus 46. There we go, 108. So that's the measure of angle ABD. Now you could either plug Q into the other expression, which is probably the safe way to do it, or just realize that the measure of the other angle, the measure of DBC, will be what's left to make this supplementary or add up to 180. So if you have 108, you would need 72 more degrees to make that equivalent. You could plug in and make sure that that's the case. There you go.